Alright guys, welcome back to another BETSY GT500 episode, and on this episode we're going to try to figure out why that switch doesn't turn the fan on the radiator. And once we know that it turns on when the coolant gets hot enough, then it's safe enough to go for a longer drive and see how she goes on the road. Alright, so that's going to be my first priority right now, and then we're going to deal with other stuff in a little bit. And we're going to start right now. Alright, so I got my little diagram ready for this little, what's it called? I don't know what's it called. Flexolite. Okay, I think it's a Flexolite control module. Okay, so I got my little diagram right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and actually plug this in how it was from my pictures that before I took it apart, and then I'm gonna actually compare and see how it should be, and then maybe that'll help me solve the problem and see if there is a problem, and see maybe I plugged something in backwards or it was plugged in differently. Who knows? Alright, so what I'm going to go ahead and reinstall it, plug it back in, and then I'm going to compare the diagram to how it was before I took it apart. Alright, let's get this done. Alright guys, so after doing some more digging and trying to figure out what's going on, and I think I solved the problem, basically what I ended up doing is putting my stock, well not stock, but the old starter solenoid. I swapped the new one and it's still not working. So this is good, so I'm going to put this back. Actually, I'm going to replace the old one with a new one. But what happened was these two wires right here, actually when I was taking everything off, disconnecting everything, I labeled these two wires. They were not connected when I actually got the car. When I first got the car, they were not connected. I thought maybe they're not needed for whatever reason. I have no idea what's going on with this car as far as wiring goes. For example, the lights right here, they turn on when I hit the brake pedal, and the brake pedal is not even connected to the taillights right now. So no idea what's going on. So I mean, I'm sure they have some kind of weird wiring going on here. So basically I thought maybe it's not needed, so I went ahead and connected these two wires to here, and now the fan actually turns on, and I can actually adjust the temperature. So what I end up doing is turning the engine on, let it idle for 10 minutes or so, and then I was able to actually turn the knob to, I think, plus or minus, and that activates the fan at lower temperature or higher temperature, however I need to. Also, the car idled and started a lot better because the power from these, there's one red wire that goes from here to the electrical choke on the carburetor, and without that, that's when you start having problems. It's either not running right, idling weird. So this was not connected, and I thought maybe it wasn't needed. I knew it was needed, but I just didn't connect it because I just wasn't sure. So now that I know that it's needed, and now that everything works fine, I think we're good to go as far as that goes. So I have no idea why the little lights over here turn on with the brake pedal. Kind of weird, but I'm just gonna go ahead and connect the taillights and see if that works even. I'm just hoping whoever wired up this car is not, you know, didn't wire it up backwards to pedal being on headlights and headlights being on taillight. I don't know, whatever, because I think these are actually turn signals if I remember correctly, and these are running lights maybe. I have no idea, so we'll see what we get here in a bit. But let's go ahead and get that started, tidy up, and get on to the wires. Alrighty, let's go. Alright guys, so all the wiring has been finished and it's now ready to go as far as the front goes. I can turn the headlights on, I can turn the blinkers on, I can turn the little fog lights on the bottom here. Pretty much everything works how it should. Also the fan, it turns on, and the radiator fan switch is now set how it should be. I pretty much let the radiator get to about 180 degrees or so, and then it turns on the fan. So that's good, everything is good, everything's set up. And I also installed radiator reservoir right here, and that goes to the radiator obviously, and then you got the little drain tube at the bottom when it starts overflowing. And also installed battery kill switch right here. So right now the battery's off because I'm working on some wiring on the back. So now that I got that figured out, let's move on to the back and see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Trump 2020, yeah! Alright, so now on the back, here's what we're doing on the back. On the back, I'm going to be installing trunk little shock mounts right here. I'm basically going to go ahead and install this to this arm right here, and then mount it to the back panel over here. And that's going to pretty much help the trunk open up and stay up pretty good. I do have one installed on this side, because I was trying to figure out how to install it properly. Basically, you push it up just a little bit, and then it goes up by itself. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So we have two mounts. If it's going to be too much for two, we'll see. It might be too much, but I also might remove the springs on the back here. I don't know if I will. I might do that, because it might be a little bit too much, because these shocks, they already push it up enough. So I'm going to install two of them, see how it performs, and then I'm going to decide if I'm going to remove those springs. All right, let's get this installed and then see the result. So I installed the second shock, and as I sort of expected, it's going to be a lot stiffer. So now it's a lot stiffer to close it, which is not a big deal, but when you unlock the trunk, it just kind of flies up pretty dramatically. So I think, yeah, that's too much. That's going to be crazy. So what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to go ahead and remove these springs, the stock springs on both sides. And that should actually, I'm hoping that's going to be a little bit better, right, Matthew? Because that's a little too much, right, Matthew? If I let go, it just kind of shoots up to the sky and just slams against the brackets right here. So let's go ahead and remove those little springs and see how it performs without them. So I got the springs out and it's a lot better without the springs. Obviously the springs were not doing their job, because without these shocks, this is the reason why I got these shocks, because the springs were not holding up the trunk. Plus when you're adding spoiler, and it makes it a little bit heavier, and then obviously they're pretty weak. So that's why I got the shocks, and let's see how it performs now without the springs. Now the springs are under tension obviously, so when you're removing them, you want to be pretty careful. And then if you guys noticed in the video, I was putting the piece of wood right here. That way when I was sliding the spring from this little hook right here, it would snap right into the wood instead of the underbody, whatever that's up there. So you got to be very careful not to pinch your fingers or whatever, shoot the springs into your face, but they mostly shut out to the right, to the left, to the side, so it was pretty easy. So now I close it all the way to the end. It stays closed, which is kind of what we want. We don't want to open the trunk and the trunk to swing right open and you know, break something. And then you push it up with your fingers a little bit, and then it goes up by itself. It doesn't slam too hard, and it's pretty good. Pretty good angle. That's good. That's good. Okay, there we go. And then we pull the lever. There we go. And then just push it up, pull it up just a little bit, and there it goes. So yeah, it's a lot better now. And I don't have to rely on my classic rod that I was using for a while. And the springs are obviously toast as well. All right, so that's done. Now the last thing that I got to do here is finish wiring the taillights, because I never finished them, but I finished everything else. So I'm gonna wire the taillights and it should be good to go. All right, let's get those done. The trunk wiring compartment is finished. I try to do the best I can to make it nice and tidy so there's no wires showing anywhere, and obviously there's going to be wires showing, but the best I could do is hide it underneath this fuel line, fuel pipe, and that kind of makes it a lot cleaner looking. And I clean it all up, tidy all up, and it's good to go. So the lights should be working now, and let's see if they are. Okay, Matthew, so let's go ahead and turn the lights on. Yeah, pull the light switch out. Okay, there we go. We get the lights on the back. Okay, Matthew, hold on. We got the lights on the back. We got the lights on the front here. We got the two lights on top, and then the two little fog lights on the bottom here. Hey, Eleanor, how you doing, buddy? You helping out? Okay, so we got those. Now let's go check the brakes, Matthew. Now Matthew's gonna hit the brakes. All right, Matthew, hit the brakes. There we go. One more time. You okay there? One more time. Okay, that's good. Now let's test the turn signal. Okay, now Matthew, go ahead and turn left turn signal. Left. That's okay, there we go. We got left one, now let's do the right one. And we got the right one. All right, now put it in the middle. And there we go. That's nice and good and ready to go. All right, guys, so the trunk area is complete. Wiring is done, taillights are done, and the trunk shocks are finished. Everything is tidied up, cleaned up, and that's done on the back. So now let's close this up and move on to other things that we have to finish and then start her up. All right, so here's what we got so far. So everything works as far as lights and everything else. And here's Matthew. Matthew, can you hit the brakes one more time for us?
Sure.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's see the brakes. All right, ready? Go. Okay, there you go. Try again. Oh, in the video, it's kind of weird. Like in the video, they're flashing, but in real life, they're not. Interesting. Because of the whole camera LED frame rate stuff. So in real life they're not flashing, but in video they'll look like they're flashing because I can see it on the screen. It's weird. Pretty interesting. All right, Matthew, turn off the lights. Yep, there you go. Okay, so lights are off, everything's off. and I installed the gas cap right here, the Mach 1 gas cap. So it's a lot better looking, it's a lot cleaner, better than the blob that was over here. And then we can see inside a little better. Inside is nice and tidy up. Now here's the problem. I closed up the trunk, and for some reason the lever now does not open this thing. The relay that's over here is clicking, but this is not opening. So I'm wondering if this kind of failed on me or who knows what. So I might have to, I'm gonna take it off, see if it's getting power in there, see what's going on. So I don't know. I was hoping to finish that today, but then that happened, and so yeah, I gotta do some more work. And then the trunk thing happened, and now it doesn't latch. Well, actually latches, but it doesn't unlatch with the lever from the inside. It was unlatching the other day. So interesting, but it is what it is. I got the sound deadening installed inside the door. I got the door panels installed. I still have to do the levers and all that stuff, but let's hear how she closes. Check this out. Like a tank. Well, it doesn't sound like a tank. It closes solid and it sounds good. Watch out, Matthew, watch out. Watch out. It sounds so good. Click, and it's locked and it's closed. Really good. Matthew, how does that sound? Good. Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. You got it? You need help? Let me help you. With my broken hand. Here we go. Let me do it one more time. Matthew, one more time. No, back up. Or you want to stay in here? Okay, stay in there. Be careful with your dirty feet. All right, the steering wheel we installed, everything installed, stick shift we installed. I'm tidying up the wires there, and it should be good to go. But this is what it sounds like. Here we go. Perfect. Perfect. Does this sound cool, Matthew? Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So that's gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna still tackle a few more things here and there. So if you guys are new, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.